Ret this tournament for that game, and we're going to be headed on to Steps of War with
Wow.
our next map between Red and Huk.
That's one of the first games we've actually seen on Steps of War, one of my personal favorite maps because of how tense it is. I mean, you even saw how Huk was inches away from ending the game with that early push, but really amazing defense right there by Ret.
So we're going to go ahead and get this game set up and bring you guys game 2 between these two teammates, LiquidHuk and LiquidRet. So what did you think about that last game of Ret's? I mean, have you seen him play at all before this tournament? I'm not sure if you casted any of his games.
I mean, I have seen Ret play, but the thing about Ret is that he's very private in his practice. He's also a relatively quiet person. He really likes focusing on the game and learning the game. So there's not a lot of Ret replays floating out there. From the early days of beta, he was very much so the kind of guy who wanted to make as many drones as possible and then swing forward with huge bursts of momentum. And that's exactly what we saw that game. But I mean, the real issue for Ret is that he might still be powering drones a little too much. Clearly his skill is in making just enough drones, as we like to say about players like Idra, but I really love the muscular roach force that he had.
So here we go, Huk and Ret, game 2. Let's make some noise out there. We have a huge crowd. I want to hear you guys all the way back here at the caster desk for this next game between these two great players from Team Liquid.
Give a cheer for Team Liquid! That's how we do it, JP.
So here we have Ret spawning as the blue Zerg at the 7 o'clock position, and his opponent Huk spawning at the 2 o'clock position as the red Protoss.
Now, the advantage that Huk will have in these spots is that he can push very aggressively right from the outset. It's always a little bit uncomfortable at the early stages as Protoss because you do want to get those great Immortals into your mix, as Roaches work quite well against most gateway units. But you don't want to get the Immortal blind, because if your opponent makes no Roaches at all, you're in horrendous position with that Immortal. So now we see Huk is throwing down that early pylon and sending out his scout probe as usual.
Yeah, immediately sending that out, so jump back over into Red's base. He has started his Overlord, going to be continuing to producing drones. Now, one of the things that Zergs feel a lot safer doing is after that patch, you can throw down your expansion a little bit earlier, or throwing down expansion first before pull on a map like Steps. Do you think it's still comfortable to do that?
I mean, it really depends on the influence of this scout probe. A lot of times players will see the probe and just say, okay, I guess I'm not early expanding. Ret will be doing a little bit of nibbling, but Huk is going to try to poke around to the back edge just to make sure that there's no pool hiding around here. And it looks like LiquidRet will just save up and throw down the pool promptly.
Looks like a gateway for Huk on 12. No assimilator yet, as he's going to probably be chrono boosting this next probe out and then throwing down the assimilator on 14 supply. And what do you think that Ret's going to do? I mean, Roach play worked for him last game. Do you think we'll see that again this game?
I mean, I definitely think that that's his general MO, but I think he's going to feel a lot more cramped, and I wonder how much of that is actually real or psychological. Players sometimes overcompensate. Honestly, it's probably about 50% shorter of a distance when compared to Blistering Sands, but still, you can convince yourself that you need to begin making units way earlier than you actually need to.
Looks like Huk just hit 100 minerals, but he's not going to be throwing down a pylon this game at the natural expansion of Ret. Ret's going to go and make that hatchery there easy peasy, and looks like only one gas right now for Ret. Cybernetics Core being thrown down at the ramp of Huk.
So we do see that a queen is just now getting started. Very fast gas from Ret. It's actually finished by 16 food. Oftentimes players throw it down at 15 food, so clearly Ret wanting to get that ling speed up immediately. Huk also rallying his zealot directly to his opponent's base. I think that will probably be a little bit surprising for Ret. Huk now throwing down an extra gateway. Clearly just gearing up for your probably prototypical Protoss openings with 3 or so warp gates and then an expo.
Now if you look at the Nexus of Huk, it was just at 75 energy, now at 54, instantly chrono boosting down onto that warp gate, second gateway being thrown down. Looks like that Zealot was sent on hold position there at his ramp. This lone probe with the stolen minerals from Red Space goes and grabs that Zelnaga watchtower to make sure nothing crazy is going on from his opponent. Going back over into Ret's base. Has he thrown down that Roach War? No, he has not. Continuing to drone though, only a couple of lings out right now. He's going to use those to just kind of hold the position on his ramp and try to deny any probes like this one. Try to sneak in the base right now.
This is an extremely fast warp gate right here for Huk. Looks like he is going for 3 gates, but not getting an early second gas. I think that is a huge sign that he is trying to end this game quickly with a big, decisive push. Again, LiquidRet gearing up to do his standard big macro play. We see a good amount of drones being transferred. 3 drones in production. His Roachwarren is only half done yet. Here's the 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker push. But wow, look at this. The warp gate is already almost complete.
Yeah, we don't have a probe or any forward pylon just yet, but I assume that will be coming here very soon. Looks like Huk is going to move up. Nope, he's going to go and try to take out this queen, as there's no lings to actually do anything against that Zealot and Stalker. 2 lings coming down from the ramp. Looks like that Zealot is going to go ahead and get surrounded, but not without taking a few drones with him. Try to get the third last drone kill, but the Stalker will be able to finish up those drones.
Wow, and this is going to encourage Rhett even more to make drones. He has lost a good amount of economy, but wow, Rhett doing the exact opposite, making tons of units, and I think Huk is going to think he's in a more comfortable position than he actually is. Oh no, there's the expansion going down. Right now, it's only units being produced by Rhett.
Looks like a ton of lings are streaming across the map right now into the base of Huk. There isn't too much of a force. A couple of Zealots, though, will be able to do a lot of damage, and Rhett is going to fall back upon seeing those Zealots.
And it looks like Huk will barely have enough forces in time. There's a forge going down right now for Huk. Doesn't have that second gas, so not a lot of sentries, instead devoting most of his energy to Zealots and Stalkers. There's even more roaches coming out for Rhett. Rhett is committing to an all-in right here, and Huk is going to be hard-pressed to defend it.
It looks like Rhett is feeling pretty comfortable seeing all of those Zealots and not too many Stalkers, so he's sending those Roaches in first. His Roaches are so strong against Zealots. There goes 1 lone sentry, going to try to do some damage. That 1 Stalker does fall, but now there's only Zealots blocking the ramp. Huk's going to have to move those up to the top, making the Roaches have to go up a little bit on the ramp, but here comes Huk moving out right now. That is so many lings and so many Roaches rallied across the map. Rhett's going to try to win it right now.
It looks like Huk is playing extremely cautiously, doesn't want to advance down, trying to pick off these roaches from a distance. He's aware that there must be a lot of Zerglings hidden underneath. The pylon falls, and here comes the Zerglings. Oh no, will he be able to throw down a force field in time? Rhett was clearly waiting until that force field, or until that Nexus finished, and here's the huge push surrounding everything. Huk throws down another force field. This expansion looks like it is going to fall. More Stalkers being warped in by Huk, but Rhett clearly knew that the all-in was right and is now pressing his advantage huge, and we see only Chrono Boost on the gateways. Huk is trying to pull a miracle right now.
Huk a little bit blocked by his own force field on his ramp, but now he has done a little bit of damage, but more lings have snuck up that ramp. Probes being the units actually trying to block those lings, but here comes some more lings from Rhett. 2 more Zealots do warp in on the ramp, but Rhett is continuing to put on so much pressure onto his opponent.
And just a swarm of Zerglings coming out, more rally to the front of the ramp. Rhett is with this huge all-in push, is seemingly successful, trying to finish them off, but no more lings come in. This is the exact opposite of the Rhett we saw against LZ Gamer, who is all macro all the time, and here is the final finishing blow. Huk, for the first time in MLG history, is not in the finals of the winners bracket. He has been knocked down after advancing to round 4 of the winners.
Now there you go. I mean, we talked about how Idra was just upset, and now I don't know if we'd call this an upset, but like you said, Huk losing, going to be in the loser round from this point on in the tournament. And as we saw Select do last event, he's going to have a lot of games ahead of him if he wants to make it to the grand finals.
And you know, I actually checked, because I've been saying there's 10 or 11 losers bracket rounds. There's actually 14, so players are going to have an extremely long path if they get knocked down early, but this is still a pretty far along place in the tournament to be in the winners round 4, so I think that Huk is definitely not going to have to play nearly as many games as some of the other players at DC had to.
Now, I think the next match that we will be bringing you is going to be the little one against Kiwi Kaki, so that's going to be an exciting match. Looks like that's a crowd favorite. Little one known for playing Terran, but switching to Zerg. He was telling me earlier before the event started that he might play Terran in a couple of the matchups. Do you happen to know any inside info on if that would be against Protoss?
Yeah, that seems good. I knew there was a sentence somewhere in there, but instead